Greetings, family and friends. Welcome to episode 17 of Baba Talks. That's episode 17, and I have to thank my brother in Taiwan, Yerko Fuenzalida Lorca, for reminding me. I had actually posted an episode and forgot to, put the number on it. So I was behind an episode telling you what episode we're doing. So this is episode 17 of Baba Talks. I appreciate you guys coming in, signing in, and checking in with me. When this COVID-19 thing hit, I initially, when it first popped off, I thought, yeah, this is going to be a time in hermitage, basically. Probably losing a little bit of weight, not eating as much. And I had set aside a whole queue of books that I've been meaning to read like all year. So it's over there. I'm going to get to, well, I thought I would get to it. But I thought that's what would happen during my COVID-19 experience. It would just be hunkering down and maybe making some sacrifices and trying to do what we could for others. But it didn't quite go that way. When the very next day, after some people got over the initial shock, some people are still in shock, I started getting emails, phone calls, texts. And people wanted to do things virtually, from the classroom instruction to the professional. People were saying, do we have to cancel? And I realized in that moment, no, we don't. Following the initial panic, I understand why the initial panic occurs, because we're set off balance. We're in uncharted territory, as they say. But people want to regain some form of routine, ritual, or normalcy. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Even with the horrific things happening around us, we still have to maintain some form of life, some form of civilization. And each of us is responsible for making sure that this happens, especially for our most vulnerable. And what's funny, you'll appreciate this. I have been touting working and doing what we can for our most vulnerable. And from here, I've been trying to do whatever I can. And then I was watching a newscaster, and they were talking about the most vulnerable. And they put up this bulleted list of the most vulnerable and who should be aware. And I had been talking about, especially for me, our children and our elderly are who we need to take care of. And I've been preaching that from the mountaintops. But they put up this bulleted list, and the news anchor started reading off the list, and I was kind of busy doing something else. And then he said, our elderly, and he gave the ages of the elderly, and I had to pause. Because I was in that demographic. And it made me think for a moment, you get there before you know it, don't you? I mean, I've heard over decades and decades, my elders have always said, you get there before you know it, you're going to be there before you know it. And it was a sobering sort of message to receive that, I'm in that demographic. So I take it for what it's worth. I'm still young at heart. I'm always going to be young at heart. And I love what I do, so I'm going to continue with my craft. And the way I'm seeing this situation is, it's more of a time for me to do what I am here to do. So I haven't stopped doing anything. In fact, I've started getting more and more calls. As each week goes on, I'm starting to get more and more calls for the assemblies, for the workshops, for all of the things I was already doing. And luckily, not luckily, I've put a lot of work into it. I'm not going to say luck. I'm going to say I'm blessed. But I have all the equipment to do what I've been doing. I mean, I've got green screen set up and lighting and microphones and cameras. And because I work internationally, I've always found a way to do these things to connect with my international audiences as well. So everything was set up for me to do it. And I'm very fortunate that way. I know not everyone has that. So I'm not going to keep this Baba Talks really long. I just wanted to make sure that I touch base with everyone. let you know what's going on. If you have any questions or if you want to communicate with me, I'm put right here, as I always do, my email, babathestoryteller@gmail.com. I'll say it and I'll put it here once again, babathestoryteller@gmail.com. For those of you who have sent requests for more stories, I'm working on it. I've got a few contracts I have to fulfill. Those are the things that pay me. So I have to fulfill those so that I can bring the stories to those of you who I usually bring them to through Baba Talks and other things. I'm very fortunate also. I've got a contract with different organizations and performing arts centers to produce content, stories. And I've been all day cranking out videos of storytelling with backgrounds and stories and trying to be as creative as I can. And I'll share some of those when I have an opportunity. In particular, there's MLS, Minneapolis Library System. I think that's what it's called. I signed a contract with them. I should know what it's called. Minneapolis Library System has me doing a series of videos. And I'm going to say they're pretty good. So when I finish those, and I have to give them to them first, I'm going to give you the link to those because you can visit Minneapolis Library System and you can actually watch those videos. They're pretty good. So if you have any questions about any of those things, feel free, email me, babathestoryteller@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you. And if you have any requests, please send me whatever request you might have. Or if you want Baba Talks not to be like once a week or you want them more in between, let me know that too. I'm open to input. For those of you on my email list, thank you for signing up for my email list. It makes it so easy for me to send a message to everyone at one time on the email list. And I will keep doing these Baba Talks for you and sending you the links when I post them up. I can't think of much else I want to contribute right now or say. So I'm going to sign off, and I will tell everyone, please, please, please be safe and stay healthy. Doni doni, kununi be yagada.